Good morning, forensic students. It's Mr. Barone. It's a little after 9 o'clock on Monday, April 27th. I just wanted to go over very quickly. The third quarter has ended. We are on to the fourth quarter. I wanted to touch base with you guys and sort of tie off the third quarter and tell you about the grading and what you can still be working on here if you're still trying to make up some work. And then also use a few moments to preview our next topic. Okay, so away we go. The third quarter ended Friday. Your teachers have until Wednesday to finish your grades. And so what does that mean? The district is instructing the teachers to give you guys either a pass or an incomplete. These are, abnormal times here. The online learning that really dominated parts of the third quarter really have made it tricky because students have real reasons for why the online learning might be difficult to have completed. So we needed to figure out a way to be fair to the students. So here's what the district is telling us, and here's what I'm telling you guys about what you'll see on your report card for the third quarter and what it means. Okay? You are going to get one of two grades for your classes. You're going to get either a P for pass or an I for incomplete. And that is true for my class in forensics as well. What does it mean? So if you get a P, here are the students who will get a P on their report card. There are three different groups of students who can get a P on their report card for passing the third quarter in forensics, but they mean something a little different, and some of the expectations for after you guys get your grades will be different as well, depending on which group you fall into. The first group is the best group to be in. If you get a P on your report card for forensics, and it means that you completed two different sets of assignments. You have the 3 online assignments here that I've highlighted in green. These are the online learning assignments that counted towards the third quarter. And then you have some major assignments that counted towards the third quarter that were not from online learning. These are things we were doing in class before we switched to online learning. So the third quarter is a blend of both things we did in class as well as some online stuff that we did. So if you get a P, you could be a student who did well in both. You were doing well in the class, you were passing the class before we switched to online learning, and then you turned in most or all of your online learning assignments. So you did well in both components. You're going to get a pass, and you're good. You shouldn't have anything to worry about when this is all over and we come back to school, whenever it happens. You should be good to go, okay? Because you are basically up to date with all of your assignments. That's the first group of students who could get a P for passing. A second group of students, it could be a group of students who were doing well in class. When we were in the traditional learning setting, when we were showing up every day, Monday through Friday, second period or ninth period, you were showing up in class, you were doing all of your work, but suddenly now, while you were passing in class, since we switched to online learning, I have not received work from you. Those students, and you know who you were doing well in the class, but then when we switched to online learning, you just haven't turned in stuff. Those students will get a P as well. They're going to get a passing score as well. However, there will be a note made on your report card that we have not yet received online learning assignments. And those assignments will be expected to be turned in within 2 weeks. Okay? And so that's a little tricky. You're going to get a passing score, but there will be a note made to your grade in this class that you haven't turned in online learning, and that work will have to be completed. Okay, if it's not, the district is still figuring out what that means, whether that means that P turns to an F or whether it gets turned to an incomplete, or how it all is going to sort of take shape is still being worked out. But I'm letting you know that you'll get a P if you haven't turned in any online learning, but you were doing well in class before. You'll get a P, you'll pass, but there'll be a note made that you have not yet turned in online work. And that is going to be flagged so that you do turn that work in, because it's not fair for students who are not doing any of that to get a passing score while everyone else who's done all of that work is getting the same grade. So they're still working out what that looks like, but we are trying to be aware of the fact that students have real reasons, why they couldn't do the online learning. People were sick, they themselves were sick, they could have a lack of technology at the house. There are a lot of reasons why it could be tricky. So it's basically, you're going to get a passing score, but it's going to buy you a couple weeks of time here to figure out why you didn't turn in the online work and what we have to get you to do so that you can turn it in. And it's a dangerous question. If you don't turn it in after 2 weeks, that could mean a negative consequence for your grades. Okay, so that's the second group. You have the first group, they passed before in class, and then they did well with all the online learning, so they're good. They're going to get a P, and they're good. You have another group of students who were doing well in class when we were in our traditional school setting, but since we switched to online learning, they have not yet turned in work. They're going to get a pass as well, but they're going to be expected to complete that work. You have a smaller group of students, a third group of students who they were not doing well in the in-class portion. I didn't get these big assignments and they were failing the class. They didn't turn in the class fingerprint project. They didn't turn in the anthropology report. They were missing a number of their Nuzellas or all of their Nuzellas. So they were not doing well in class, but they've actually done well with the online learning. They've turned in all the online learning activities. If you're in that category, you will get a passing grade. But in the same way with the previous group, you will be expected to finish those other assignments. And if you don't, you're risking the possibility of that having a negative effect on your overall grade. So you'll get a passing grade, but it'll buy you, again, 2 weeks of time to finish these activities that were done before we switched to online learning. So that's the third group of students that we'll talk about, who will all get a P for the third quarter. They passed both the online and in-class learning portion of the class. They're good. You have some students who are passing the in-class portion, but they did not turn in online learning. They'll get a passing grade, but they'll be expected to do the online learning. The third group, they were not doing well in class. They were failing the class, but since we've gone to online learning, they've turned in all the online work. So they're going to get a passing score, but they're also going to be expected to finish the assignments that were done before we switched to online learning. So all three of those groups of students will get a P for my class. Now, the one group that will not get a P, they will get an incomplete. Those are the students who were failing before we were in class, before we were doing online learning, I should say, and they've also not turned in materials for online learning. Basically, you have not done well in either part of forensics in the third quarter, both the in-class component and the online component. You have not done a good job or satisfactory job in either of those. You will get an incomplete and you will have to do all of that work as well. Okay? So those are the grades you're going to see. Don't assume just because you get a P that means like everything's perfect, because you still may have some work to do. And certainly if you get an I for an incomplete, that's absolutely something you're going to want to take note of. Okay, so those are the grades. That's what you'll see. I'll be finalizing grades between now and Wednesday. Again, if you want to turn in any of these items, I would start with these guys first. These are your highest priority assignments. These will impact your grade most quickly. And then by Wednesday, we will have fully turned our attention to the next topic. Okay, and so with that, our next topic is going to be handwriting, analysis, forgery, and counterfeiting. And the assignment that will be due not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday will be the guided notes. Okay, so again, you'll have access to the textbook, you'll have the guided notes, and you'll have about a week and a half to finish it. If you have any questions, you guys can email me, of course. My office hours are starting right now. I'm going to jump off this video and open up the office hours, so you're welcome to join me there if you have any questions. And like I said, I hope you guys are able to turn in as much of this as you can. I hope you guys are staying on top of your work and your other classes. I hope you guys are healthy and you're doing well, and I miss you guys. And like I said, that's about it. So let's have a good week of work, and I look forward to seeing your assignments come in, all right? All right, guys, that's it.